The flickering fluorescent light of the dusty interrogation room played across the cheap plastic table, highlighting the grime Wade had long since stopped bothering to clean. He hummed a discordant tune, tapping a perfectly polished katana, because even boredom deserved proper aesthetics, against his chin, ignoring the bloodstain on the floor that refused to come out. You know, he addressed the invisible camera crew, pulling a greasy packet of chimichangas from a cooler next to him. This isn't exactly the lucrative, morally ambiguous contract montage you were expecting, is it? More like Mercenary's Day Off, Existential Crisis Edition. The chimichanga was cold, and the despair was warm. Wade sighed, loud and theatrical. Another day, another successful contract, another pile of cash that did nothing to fill the void. He'd cleaned up a nasty corporate espionage situation involving genetically modified pigeons and a rival bakery chain. High stakes, thrilling. Not. A soft pop echoed in the small room, utterly out of place. Wade, mid-bite, froze. Not out of fear. Fear was a concept his healing factor had largely deprecated, but out of sheer, unadulterated surprise. The air shimmered, smelling faintly of ozone and old parchment. And there, standing impossibly in the middle of his concrete jungle, was a man. He was old, impossibly so, with a long silver beard that reached his belt buckle and half-moon spectacles perched on a nose that looked like it had seen things. His robes, a vibrant, utterly impractical periwinkle, seemed to drink the meager light, radiating an aura of, well, wizardry. This wasn't just a weirdo. This was a capital W weirdo. Oh, for fudge's sake, Wade muttered, dropping the chimichanga. Did I accidentally sign up for a Renaissance Fair mailing list? Or is this another one of those viral marketing stunts for that new Mystical Man shampoo? Because I'm pretty sure my agent said no more product placement after the unicorn blood elixir incident. The old man, unfazed, twinkled at him. Seriously, he twinkled. It was unsettling. Mr. Wilson, I presume? His voice was surprisingly deep, rich, and held an undercurrent of amusement that Wade found immediately irritating. Depends, Wade said, retrieving a secondary katana from his back. Are you here to congratulate me on my burgeoning career as a freelance pigeon exterminator, or are you offering me a lifetime supply of glitter? Neither, I assure you, the man said, a slight smile playing on his lips. My name is Albus Dumbledore. And I believe I have an offer that might, shall we say, provide a touch more purpose than pigeon wrangling. Wade scoffed, adjusting his mask. Purpose? Buddy, my purpose is to get paid, kill things, and occasionally break the fourth wall for your amusement. Speaking of which, audience, get ready for some serious exposition. I smell a plot twist a mile away, and it usually involves me getting into bigger trouble than usual. He gestured wildly with his katana. Okay, Dumbles, spill. What kind of cosmic horror or interdimensional shenanigans requires a guy who looks like a topographical map of a diseased scrotum? Dumbledore's eyes, behind those ridiculous spectacles, seemed to hold an ancient wisdom and perhaps a touch of mischief. Your unique attributes, Mr. Wilson, are precisely why I have sought you out. The world, my world, faces a grave threat. A darkness that seeks to consume all that is good and just. Oh, is it a Dark Lord? Wade interrupted, barely containing his excitement. Because I've always wanted to fight a Dark Lord. Do they have cool castles? Minions with silly names? Is there a prophecy involved? Because I love prophecies. They make everything feel so much destiny-ish. Dumbledore raised a silvery eyebrow. Indeed, Mr. Wilson. A Dark Lord named Voldemort. And yes, a prophecy of considerable importance. As for castles and minions, he has those in abundance. And his followers, the Death Eaters, are far from silly. Death Eaters? Wade repeated, making a disgusted face. Seriously? That's like a middle schooler's idea of a terrifying gang name. My marketing team could do better. The nocturnal noodlers of necrotic nefariousness. See? Alliteration and a touch of whimsy. Be that as it may, Dumbledore continued, unperturbed. Voldemort's power grows and his influence spreads. We need information. Crucial intelligence on his plans, his resources, and a particularly dangerous object he has recently acquired. And you want me to go undercover? Wade deadpanned. He gestured to his costume. My cover story is usually a guy who just exploded, not subtle infiltrator. Also, I'm pretty sure Lord Voldemort and his pals aren't looking for a charismatic mercenary with a penchant for gratuitous violence and meta-commentary. Precisely, Dumbledore said, a faint smile on his lips. They would never expect it. Your disfigurement, though, it will require some magical assistance. He tapped his wand against his temple, and a soft, golden glow enveloped his head. I possess the means to provide you with a temporary guise, Mr. Wilson. A convincing illusion that will allow you to blend in. For a time, Wade narrowed his eyes. A temporary guise, huh? So, I get to look normal? Ugh. Where's the fun in that? My monstrous visage is part of my brand. It's like Batman without the pointy ears, or Captain America without the crippling mommy issues. It is a necessity, Dumbledore countered gently. You will be Julian Thorne, a reclusive pureblood wizard, formerly loyal to the dark arts, who has spent years abroad, recovering from a magical ailment that left him, scarred and out of touch. Recently returned, eager to pledge fealty to Lord Voldemort. Scarred. Wade perked up. So, not completely normal? Excellent. What kind of scars? Something dramatic? A lightning bolt? A mysterious tribal tattoo that glows when I'm angry. Internal scarring, mostly, Dumbledore clarified. A faint, almost imperceptible silvering around your eyes. A pallid complexion. The kind of subtle indicators that suggest a brush with dark magic, but not so overt as to draw immediate suspicion. Enough to explain your intensity. He held out a long, thin stick of elderwood. And this. It is a wand, Mr. Wilson. It is how we channel our magic. Wade took the wand. It felt flimsy. Like a fancy toothpick. This is it? No laser guns? No sonic disruptors? Just a stick? What am I supposed to do with this? Poke someone in the eye? It is capable of far more, Dumbledore assured him. I will imbue you with the basic knowledge required to wield it. Simple charms, defensive spells, perhaps a non-verbal lumos for dramatic effect. But your primary weapon, I believe, will be your existing skill set. Your combat prowess, your resourcefulness, and your unique perspective. Wade twirled the wand, nearly poking himself. So, you want me to be a wizard ninja? With an internal monologue that breaks the fourth wall faster than a cheap window pane? This is going to be awesome. But what's in it for me, Dumbles? Besides the obvious chance to save your world and bask in the glory, which, let's be honest, is a pretty sweet perk. Dumbledore's smile softened. A considerable sum, of course. Enough to keep you in chimichangas for a lifetime, perhaps. But more than that, Mr. Wilson. A chance to fight for something beyond mere payment. A chance to find a purpose that even you, a self-proclaimed monster, might deem worthy. Wade paused, the wand still in his hand. Purpose, huh? That's a heavy word, Dumbles. But you got my attention. Let's do this. Operation. Pure blood pain in the arse. Initiate. The transformation was bizarre. Dumbledore hadn't just cast a spell. He'd brewed a potion, a sickly green liquid that tasted vaguely of almonds and regret. Wade's skin had prickled and tightened, his muscles flexing involuntarily, then settling into a leaner, almost gaunt frame. His face, his true face, had rippled and blurred beneath the mask, replaced by something Dumbledore assured him was distinguished and suitably aristocratic. His signature red and black suit had been replaced by plain, dark robes, blessedly, still with plenty of pockets for snacks and shurikens. Don't touch your face too much. The glamour is stable but not invincible, Dumbledore instructed, his voice echoing in what was now a nondescript, abandoned alleyway in a part of London Wade didn't recognize. Remember, Julian Thorne. You've been away, you're eager, and you are dedicated to the Dark Lord. Speak little, observe much. And for Merlin's sake, try to keep the commentary to yourself. Wade rolled his eyes, though the action felt strangely unfamiliar with his new facial structure. No promises, old man. My internal monologue is basically a character in its own right. Besides, what's a good spy story without a snarky narrator? Nobody wants silent espionage, that's just boring. He gave a dramatic sigh. Alright, so I'm a pale, brooding pureblood who's spent too much time in a magically induced coma. Got it. I'll make sure to brood extra hard. Dumbledore then led him to a grimy pub, barely noticeable amongst the rows of brick houses. The Leaky Cauldron. Stepping through the back, a brick wall shimmered and parted, revealing Diagon Alley. It was a riot of color and magic, but Dumbledore hurried him past the bustling shops to a less savory corner. Another dark alley, then another hidden entrance, this one behind a chipped, gargoyle-adorned door that looked like it belonged on a haunted mansion. Inside, the air grew thick with a sense of dread, like a bad mood made manifest. The decor was exactly what Wade expected. Gothic archways, flickering torchlight, and enough spiderwebs to knit a sweater for Hagrid. Everything was dark, oppressive, and utterly devoid of anything resembling joy. "Welcome, Julian," Dumbledore's voice, now a low murmur in Wade's ear, was replaced by his own inner monologue. "Okay, audience, welcome to Villain HQ. Checklist, spooky lighting? Check. Overly dramatic architecture? Double check. Distinct lack of primary colors? A resounding checkaroo. These guys really committed to the bit, huh?" Wade followed Dumbledore, who was now wearing a discreet, almost invisible glamour himself, through a series of increasingly narrow, winding corridors. The sounds of hushed, tense voices grew louder. He could hear the clinking of chains, the distant wails of what he sincerely hoped were just dramatic sound effects, and the low, guttural murmur of dark magic. Finally, they reached a large chamber. The air here was heavy, charged with a palpable evil. Cloaked figures, their faces obscured by ornate silver masks, stood or sat around a massive, polished black table. A few wore their hoods down, revealing sneering, aristocratic faces. They all wore identical, somber black robes. "All right, fashionistas, get a load of these guys," Wade thought, trying to project an air of aloof superiority, as Dumbledore had instructed. Black is the new. Well, it's always been the new black for these guys, hasn't it? Very on brand, but a little boring. No sequins? No tasteful embroidery? Not even a hint of magenta? For shame. He held the wand awkwardly in his hand, trying to appear nonchalant. He'd practiced a few basic spells under Dumbledore's tutelage: Lumos, Nox, Scourgify for emergency chimichanga cleanup. He'd even managed a non-verbal Alohomora on a particularly stubborn lock, mostly by grunting really hard. But he felt naked without his pistols. As they stepped fully into the chamber, a few heads turned. Whispers rippled through the room. Dumbledore gave him a subtle nudge, a warning. Wade stiffened, trying to project an aura of quiet menace. And then he saw her. Tall, with a wild mane of black hair that seemed to defy gravity, she stood near the head of the table. Her robes were just as dark as the others, but her expression, even from a distance, was pure, unadulterated madness. Bellatrix Lestrange. She didn't just look at him. Her eyes, dark and glittering like obsidian shards, impaled him. A slow, predatory smile spread across her face, not of welcome, but of a keen, unsettling curiosity. Oh, for crying out loud, Wade thought, a bead of sweat tracing a path down his temporarily unscarred face. She totally knows, doesn't she? This is going to be harder than I thought. Way harder. Bellatrix took a deliberate step towards him, her smile widening into a leer. Well, what have we here? Her voice was a low, dangerous purr. A new face, Lord Voldemort? Or merely a ghost from the past, come to pay respects? She stopped directly in front of Wade, her eyes raking over his magically altered features, then lingered on his hand, where his grip on the wand was just a touch too tight. The silence in the room was absolute. Wade's heart, usually a chaotic mess of adrenaline and sarcasm, thumped against his ribs with an uncharacteristic unease. This woman smelled trouble like a bloodhound on a fresh trail. And he was standing right in front of her. The air hung thick with stale magic and the scent of fear, a noxious blend that even Wade's advanced olfactory sensors and slightly broken nose found offensive. Malfoy Manor. A fittingly dramatic backdrop for a villain convention. Wade, or rather, Slick Rick, adjusted the heavy, black robes that felt suspiciously like cheap cosplay, trying to blend into the gaggle of masked figures shuffling into the grand, dimly lit drawing room. Okay, audience, Wade whispered, though the only one listening was the disembodied voice in his head, and you, obviously, Chapter 2. The big villain meeting. Expect high drama, low lighting, and probably some questionable interior decorating choices. Seriously, is that a dead unicorn head mounted on the wall? Or just a very enthusiastic taxidermist? He ignored the nervous glances from a few lesser Death Eaters who flinched at his muttered commentary. His mask, a generic silver skull that Dumbledore had conjured with a dismissive flick of his wand, felt tight, chafing against his already unique facial structure. He tried to paint a tiny smiley face on the inside of the mask, but it just smeared. Tragic. The room was grand but decaying, its opulence tarnished by neglect and, Wade suspected, frequent bouts of extreme magical violence. Tapestries depicting vaguely menacing scenes hung askew, and a magnificent chandelier overhead looked perpetually on the verge of plunging to its doom. The entire aesthetic screamed evil overlord with a penchant for dramatic irony. Snape stood nearby, a living shadow among shadows, his customary sneer barely visible beneath his own skull mask. Wade caught his eye and offered a silent thumbs up. Snape's masked face didn't even twitch, but Wade could practically feel the contempt radiating from him. It was almost comforting in its familiarity. Suddenly, a cold silence descended. The nervous whispers died, replaced by the collective intake of breath. The temperature in the room plummeted a good 10 degrees, making Wade shiver despite himself. He didn't need to be told. The big bad had arrived. Lord Voldemort glided into the room, not walking so much as manifesting from the shadows near the grand fireplace. He was exactly as Wade had pictured him from the movies, pale, skeletal, with those terrifying red eyes and slit nostrils. No nose. Still weird. Also, the robes were very on brand. He needed a good stylist. Oh man, it's like seeing a celebrity in real life. Wade mentally exclaimed, then quickly slapped his mental hand over his mental mouth. Except the celebrity wants to murder everyone and has a severe skin condition. And no nose. Seriously, what's with a no nose? Is it a fashion choice? Did it get burned off in a childhood incident with a toaster oven? Voldemort's gaze, those terrifying scarlet slits, swept across the assembled Death Eaters. Each figure bowed low, a wave of subservience rippling through the room. Wade, remembering Dumbledore's hurried instructions about fitting in, dutifully performed a bow so deep his fake robes almost tripped him. He wobbled for a moment, catching himself just before face-planting. Nailed it. Welcome, my loyal servants, Voldemort's voice hissed, devoid of warmth, yet laced with an insidious power that vibrated in Wade's bones. Tonight, we speak of progress. Of victory. Of the final eradication of those who would stand against us. He began to speak of raids, of Muggleborns being rounded up, of the Ministry teetering on the brink. He spoke of Dumbledore, of Harry Potter, with a venomous hatred that made Wade's healing factor tingle with discomfort. Voldemort was planning something big, something beyond just terrorizing the public. He hinted at a grander scheme, a way to ensure his immortality and ultimate dominion. Wade tried to focus, to internalize the intel, but his mind kept drifting. Immortal dominion, huh? Sounds like a lot of paperwork. Does he have a decent HR department? What about health benefits? This gig better pay well. He glanced around. Bellatrix Lestrange was there, naturally, practically vibrating with maniacal devotion. Her eyes, dark and glittering, kept darting to Wade. She was still suspicious. Damn it, Wade, you're supposed to be slick Rick, suave and dark. Not you. He tried to project an aura of menacing quietude, which probably just made him look constipated. Voldemort paused, his gaze landing on a figure near the back. Fenrir Greyback, he hissed, and the hulking werewolf flinched, even through his masked face. Your efforts in the north have been adequate, but sloppy. A crack of light, a silent, unseen curse, emanated from Voldemort. Greyback convulsed, a low groan escaping him, before collapsing to his knees, clutching his chest. He was clearly in agony, but silent. Wade swallowed, feeling a pang of something. Sympathy? No, probably just indigestion. Greyback was a monster, but damn, that was cold. And impressive. Mental note, Don't annoy the noseless snake man. We're on the cusp of true power, Voldemort continued, his voice regaining its smooth, terrifying cadence. The ministry will fall. Dumbledore will be isolated. And the boy, Harry Potter, will be delivered to me. He spoke of a final piece, an ancient magic that would make him truly unassailable. He mentioned a sacred place of old magic where this power resided. Wade's ears perked up. Sacred place, ancient magic. Sounds like a classic MacGuffin, folks. Better jot that down. He fumbled for a non-existent notepad. Then boredom, that most insidious of Wade's enemies, began to set in. Voldemort droned on, detailing strategies for infiltration, for sowing discord. It was all very villainous, very effective, and utterly boring. Wade felt a snicker bubble up in his throat. It was too much. The self-importance, the dramatics, the absolute lack of self-awareness. He tried to suppress it, to cough it into his hand, but it escaped. A small, involuntary snort of amusement, followed by a barely audible murmur. Seriously, how many times has this guy been taken down already? He's like a bad reboot. Voldemort, the return. The room went silent. Every head swiveled towards Wade. Voldemort's red eyes narrowed, piercing through the silver skull mask, burning into Wade's very soul. The air became thick, oppressive, as if all the oxygen had been sucked out. Bellatrix Lestrange, ever alert, let out a low, guttural growl. "Oh, did I hear a whisper?" Voldemort's voice was softer now, more dangerous than when he'd been shouting. "Does one of my loyal servants have something to add?" Wade felt a cold sweat trickle down his spine. This was it. Game over, man. Game over. He frantically searched for an excuse. No, my lord. Just, clearing my throat. Bit of a dry spell in here. You know, with all the dark magic, sucking up the humidity. He winced internally. That was terrible. Bellatrix let out a high-pitched cackle. The new one, my lord. Slick Rick. So bold. Her eyes gleamed with malice. Perhaps he has a better plan than yours, my lord? Wade wanted to melt into the floor. He wanted to apparate to a chimichanga stand. He wanted to spontaneously combust and regenerate somewhere far, far away. Just as Voldemort raised his wand, a flicker of red light already forming at its tip, a calm, measured voice cut through the terrified silence. "Forgive him, my lord." All eyes turned to Snape. The potion's master stepped forward, his expression unreadable, even to Wade, who knew him to be a master of the unimpressed glare. The newcomer, Rick, has recently acquired a rather volatile dark artifact, Snape explained, his voice smooth as silk, yet carrying an edge of cold authority. A cursed amulet from an old Nordic crypt, thought to contain the echoes of a particularly unhinged ancient spirit. Dumbledore's intelligence suggested it might prove useful in understanding certain primitive forms of magical madness. Rick was tasked with its observation. He gestured vaguely at Wade. Alas, the artifact seems to have a stronger influence than anticipated. It causes periodic bouts of involuntary vocalization, a form of psychic feedback from the ancient entity. It is an unfortunate side effect, but one we believe we can eventually channel to our advantage. Wade stared, mouth agape behind his mask. An unhinged ancient spirit? That was surprisingly plausible, given the HP universe. And it also perfectly explained his constant internal monologues and fourth-wall breaks. Snape, you magnificent bastard. Voldemort's wand tip still glowed red, but his gaze now flickered between Snape and Wade. Bellatrix, however, was not convinced. Her eyes narrowed, assessing. A cursed amulet? Bellatrix sneered, taking a step forward. Or merely a weak mind that cannot contain its insolence. Perhaps a test, my lord? To see if this Rick truly possesses the fortitude for our ranks. Snape met her gaze, his own eyes colder than a winter's night in Siberia. Unless, of course, you wish to interfere with the Dark Lord's direct orders, Bellatrix. The artifact was retrieved on his command for study. To test Rick now would be to risk the destruction of a unique magical phenomenon and waste valuable intel. Voldemort lowered his wand, the red light fading. He considered Snape's words, then looked at Wade, his gaze lingering, dissecting. Wade held his breath. Very well, Severus, Voldemort finally hissed. The creature's affliction will be noted. Ensure it does not become a hindrance. I expect its unique properties to be turned to our benefit, not to the disruption of my counsel. His gaze swung back to Wade, radiating pure menace. Do not try my patience, Rick, or your death will be slow and exquisitely painful. Wade nodded rapidly, feeling a fresh wave of sweat. Yes, my lord. Completely understand. No more psychic feedback. We'll keep the ancient spirit on a tighter leash. Voldemort turned away, resuming his discourse as if nothing had happened, but the tension in the room remained. Snape gave Wade a subtle, barely perceptible nod. Bellatrix, however, was still staring. Her lips, usually contorted into a manic grin, were now a thin, suspicious line. Wade could feel her gaze on him, burning into his back like a brand. She knew. She didn't know what, but she knew he was off. Well, that was a close one. High fives all around. Wade thought, forcing himself to pay attention to Voldemort's continued monologue about the prophecy. He definitely mentioned a prophecy. And something about a sacred place. This intel is gold. But that Bellatrix, she's definitely going to be a problem. A very stabby, insane problem. As the meeting concluded and Death Eaters began to apparate away, Snape pulled Wade aside, his voice a low, furious whisper. You are an imbecile, Wilson. One more stunt like that, and even Dumbledore will not be able to pull your pathetic carcass from the jaws of the Dark Lord. Bellatrix Lestrange will be watching you. Every twitch, every breath. She will delight in exposing you. Wade shivered, not from the cold, but from Snape's icy fury. Noted, Snapesy. No more accidental comedy bits. Got it. But you gotta admit, the unhinged ancient spirit thing was genius. You really sold it. Snape merely glared, his mask hiding his expression, but not the raw contempt in his eyes. Do not push your luck. Your next mission will be under Bellatrix's direct supervision. She has requested to test the newcomer's mettle personally. Wade's blood ran cold. Oh, come on. Really? That's my hook? Bellatrix, he squeaked, his voice cracking. As in, the one who just tried to get me disintegrated? The one who looks like she eats light bulbs for fun? You're telling me she's my new boss? Snape's voice was a venomous whisper. Indeed, Wilson. And knowing Bellatrix, her test will be anything but subtle. Try not to die, mercenary. Or at least, try not to reveal yourself before you do. He turned, his robes billowing, and vanished with a soft crack of apparition, leaving Wade alone in the decaying manor, a chilling sense of dread settling over him. He knew Bellatrix would be looking for any excuse. And he knew she would be ruthless in finding it. Well, dear readers, Wade thought, running a gloved hand over his skull mask, it seems Slick Rick just got a promotion to sacrificial lamb. He could almost hear the maniacal cackle already. This is going to hurt. The stale air in Malfoy Manor, thick with the scent of old money, fear, and something vaguely metallic, was really starting to chafe Wade's sensitive nostrils. And by sensitive, he meant very sensitive, given the lack of proper nasal cartilage. He sat slouched in a ridiculously ornate armchair, picking at a loose thread on his borrowed, scratchy robes. Honestly, he muttered to no one in particular, though he knew you were listening. You'd think for an all-powerful Dark Lord, Voldy could afford some decent air fresheners. Or maybe a few Glade plugins. My apartment in Jersey smells better, and that's saying something, considering the number of pizza boxes and existential dread I've got piled up. A low growl from a nearby, unnamed Death Eater made him sigh dramatically. Relax, Mr. Anonymous Robe Wearer. Just appreciating the ambience. It's very Dracula's less successful cousin who inherited a dusty castle. The doors to the drawing room swung open with a theatrical flourish, and Bellatrix Lestrange swept in, her wild dark hair a chaotic halo around her deranged grin. She was followed by a handful of other, less interesting Death Eaters, mostly the Grunt-Anobe types who probably spent their evenings polishing their dark marks. Listen up, maggots. Bellatrix shrieked, her voice carrying an unsettling mix of glee and venom. The Dark Lord grows impatient with these Muggles. Their very existence is an affront. Tonight, we remind them of their place. We remind them of our power. Wade rolled his eyes, a purely internal gesture since he was pretty sure an overt eye roll would earn him a crucio. Oh, goody. Muggle baiting. My favorite. Right up there with watching paint dry and listening to elevator music on repeat. Though, to be fair, the last time I tortured Muggles, they actually had something coming to them. These guys just seem like innocent bystanders in a bad fanfic. Bellatrix's eyes, glinting with manic delight, scanned the room before locking onto Wade. You, Ragnar, she hissed, using his assigned alias. You look eager. Perhaps a bit too eager, Or is that just your usual, peculiar intensity? Wade straightened up, pasting on a grin that probably looked more like a grimace thanks to his facial structure. Eager as a puppy with two tails, Bellaboo. Can't wait to show these Muggles the error of their ways. Specifically, the error of existing in the same temporal dimension as Lord Voldemort. It's a classic mistake, really. A few Death Eaters exchanged uneasy glances. Bellatrix, however, merely cackled. Good. Tonight, we visit Little Whinging, a truly insipid corner of their pathetic world. The Dark Lord wishes for a demonstration. Nothing too fatal tonight. He has other plans for the Potter boys' relatives later. No, tonight is about terror. About showing them that their little safe haven means nothing. Wade's mental alarm bells, usually reserved for impending explosions or bad Taco Tuesdays, started clanging. Little whinging? Oh, for fudge's sake. Dumbledore's going to have my hide if I accidentally reveal anything about Harry's relatives. Better walk a very fine line here. My first thought was, why not just blow up the whole town? Wade mused aloud, earning another sharp look from Bellatrix. But then I remembered, escalation. You gotta build up to the big fireworks, right? It's like a good movie. Start with the slow burn, introduce the villains, maybe a quirky sidekick, then BM. Giant robot battle. Or, in this case, mass murder. Potato. Bellatrix's smile didn't falter, but her eyes held a new, calculating glint. Such insight, Ragnar. Perhaps you're not as witless as you seem. You will join my advance party. The others will follow once we've sufficiently softened them up. Before Wade could offer another quippy remark about softening Muggles sounding like a very specific kind of adult film, Bellatrix raised her wand. Now, let us go remind these mudbloods of the consequences of insolence. With a chorus of cracks, they apparat. The sudden lurch was as disorienting as ever, but Wade had long since mastered the art of not barfing his enchilada chimichanga breakfast all over his pristine Death Eater robes. One moment, the gothic opulence of Malfoy Manor. The next, a quaint, utterly generic suburban street. Manicured lawns, identical semi-detached houses, a few garden gnomes. It was so aggressively normal. Oh, look, a cul-de-sac, Wade whispered, a genuine note of disappointment in his voice. I was hoping for something more dramatic. Like a bustling market square. Or maybe a Renaissance fair. Imagine the havoc. So many period-appropriate costumes to ruin. Bellatrix ignored him, her wand already raised. Incendio, she shrieked, pointing at a perfectly ordinary garden shed. Flames erupted instantly, licking greedily at the wooden structure. Panic erupted from one of the houses. A man in a dressing gown, his face pale with sleep, stumbled out, shielding his eyes from the sudden inferno. What in the blazes? Crucio! Bellatrix shrieked, delighted. The man screamed, collapsing to the ground, writhing in agony. Wade flinched. He'd seen a lot of terrible things. He'd done a lot of terrible things. But watching a genuinely innocent person suffer like that, just for existing, still twisted his gut. His fourth wall sense usually provided a layer of detachment, but sometimes, the real-world horror bled through. Okay, Wade. Time to earn that ridiculously large bag of galleons Dumbledore promised. Operation. Sabotage with extreme prejudice, but make it look like you're really, really bad at evil is a go. Alright, Ragnar, your turn. Bellatrix snarled, pointing at a woman who had just opened her door, clutching a bewildered child. Show them your particular brand of cruelty. Wade raised his wand. He could feel the eyes of the other Death Eaters on him. He considered his options. A well-placed confringo at the wrong angle, an expulso that missed, a bombarda that hit a particularly resilient garden gnome instead of a person. Huh. Behold my signature move. Wade yelled, putting on his most maniacal performance. He brandished his wand, making dramatic gestures, then pointed it at the woman. Stupefy. But just as the jet of red light left his wand, Wade subtly shifted his aim. The spell, instead of hitting the woman, slammed into the mailbox directly behind her, tearing it from its post with a shower of sparks and plaster. The woman gasped, scrambling back inside, pulling her child with her. Bellatrix's eyes narrowed. You missed, Ragnar. Pathetic. A simple stunning spell. Missed? Oh no, Bellatrix dear, I merely overcompensated. Wade insisted, rubbing the back of his neck sheepishly. You see, with the amount of raw, untamed power coursing through my veins, sometimes a simple stupefy can accidentally turn into a Stupefy Plus, which, as you can see, has extra mailbox-destroying properties. It's like a deluxe package. You get the stun, plus the property damage. One of the more dull-witted Death Eaters chuckled uncertainly. Bellatrix, however, did not. Her gaze was colder now, more piercing. Control your power, Ragnar. Or I shall have to control it for you. Wade gulped. Right. Noted. Less enthusiasm for accidental mailbox destruction. More targeted incompetence. They continued down the street. Houses were set ablaze, garden ornaments charmed into singing shrill, off-key praises to the Dark Lord. Children's toys were animated to chase terrified adults. It was a horrifying spectacle, a mundane street transformed into a playground for sadists. A young man, perhaps in his early 20s, dashed out of his house, shouting obscenities at the masked figures. What the hell are you doing? Get out of here. Such insolence. Bellatrix shrieked, pointing her wand. Crucio. The young man screamed, falling to his knees. Wade's healing factor thrummed, a familiar rage bubbling beneath his skin. This wasn't just a mission anymore. It was an active exercise in restraint. Ragnar. Finish him. Show him the mercy of a quick end, then we will move on to the next pathetic wretch. Bellatrix commanded, her voice vibrating with pleasure. Wade raised his wand again. Okay, Wade. Think fast. How do you save the day without looking like you're saving the day? He locked eyes with the writhing man, subtly shaking his head. Oh, but where's the fun in a quick end, Bellatrix? Wade mused, his voice dripping with false enthusiasm. I think he needs a more cinematic experience. Something with a real build-up. Maybe a monologue about the futility of resistance, followed by a dramatic Accio. He cast the spell, not at the man, but at a rather large, ornate birdbath in a nearby garden. The stone birdbath, heavy as it was, shot through the air, just missing the Death Eater closest to the young man. The Death Eater, startled, stumbled backward, his own spell. A jet of purple light aimed at the suffering Muggle, going wide and impacting a sturdy oak tree instead. The tree groaned, but remained standing. Whoa, Butterfingers. Wade yelled, pretending to be startled by the trajectory of his own spell. My bad. Turns out, Accio Birdbath is harder than it looks. So much drag coefficient. He grinned apologetically. The young man, in the momentary chaos, managed to crawl a few feet, partially shielded by the Death Eater, who was now dusting himself off, muttering curses under his breath. Bellatrix stepped forward, her wand sweeping up, and with a flick, she silenced the young man's screams. He lay twitching, but the immediate agony had ceased. She stared at Wade, her dark eyes like shards of obsidian. You are accident-prone, Ragnar, she said slowly, each word laced with poison. Every single spell you cast seems to go astray. Are you truly so incompetent? Or are you playing games? Wade clutched his wand dramatically to his chest. Incompetent? Me? Never. I'm merely creatively destructive. It's an art form, really. My spells are like abstract paintings. You don't get them at first, but then you realize the profound impact of the unexpected trajectory. It's all part of the larger narrative, you see. The audience expects a direct hit, but I give them subversion. He gestured wildly, almost hitting another Death Eater with his wand. Bellatrix's face was unreadable for a split second, then a slow, terrible smile stretched across her lips. Subversion, you say? Perhaps you are more clever than you let on. Perhaps you enjoy testing the limits of what is acceptable. Her gaze became predatory. I too enjoy games, Ragnar. And I have a very particular game in mind for you. One that will test your loyalty. She looked around at the burning houses, the terrified faces peering from windows. Enough for tonight. The message has been sent. The Dark Lord will be pleased with the terror we have sown. She gave Wade one last, unsettling smirk. I will be speaking to the Dark Lord about your unique talents, Ragnar. He will be most interested. With another series of loud cracks, the Death Eaters vanished, leaving behind a trail of smoke, embers, and shattered peace. Wade felt the lingering taste of ash in his mouth. He had saved a few Muggles from the worst of it, but Bellatrix's suspicion was a rapidly tightening noose. She wasn't just watching him anymore, she was hunting. And if Voldemort himself got interested in his unique talents, Wade knew it wouldn't be for his dazzling personality or his prowess with a rubber chicken. Well, that went about as well as a blind date with a Cthulhu cultist, Wade thought, a shiver running down his spine that had nothing to do with the lingering chill of the night air. Bellatrix is onto me. And when a psychotic witch with a fetish for torture thinks you're suspicious, it's usually not a good sign for your continued existence. Better brush up on my escape routes. And maybe my will. Do I even have a will? I should probably get on that. The last image burned into his mind was Bellatrix's twisted smile, promising pain. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him to his core, that his next mission under her watchful eye wouldn't involve subtle sabotage. It would be a trap. And he was the bait. The stale scent of old parchment and latent dark magic was a constant companion in Malfoy Manor, clinging to Wade's borrowed robes like a cheap cologne. After the Muggle cleansing mission, which he deftly turned into a Muggle-saving mission, much to Bellatrix's simmering fury, his days had been a delicate dance of feigned loyalty and frantic information-seeking. Bellatrix. That woman was a human lie detector, if the lie was not totally evil. She'd been watching him, a predatory glint in her eyes that promised a painful end to his masquerade. Okay, audience, quick recap, Wade whispered to the air, polishing the hilt of his favorite katana, currently disguised as a particularly sharp letter opener. Bellatrix thinks I'm sus. Dumbledore wants intel. Voldemort is probably in his lair, planning how to redecorate the world in blood red. My current mission. Find something juicy to report before Psycho Barbie finds out I'm basically a sentient chimichanga with a death wish and a healing factor. His cover as Malachi, a disgruntled former hit wizard with a penchant for flashy curses and a surprisingly quiet demeanor, was wearing thin. He needed a big score, something that would earn him temporary reprieve from Bellatrix's scrutiny and give Dumbledore something concrete. Opportunity, as it often did, presented itself in the most boring of ways, a night guard duty. Voldemort wasn't always out terrorizing the countryside. Sometimes, the Dark Lord had paperwork. Or, more accurately, ancient, cryptic scrolls work. Wade was assigned to patrol the Inner Sanctum, a dusty, rarely used wing of the manor that housed the Malfoy family's more private acquisitions and, apparently, Voldemort's temporary study. Seriously? Night Guard? Did I suddenly join the Night's Watch? Will I be fighting White Walkers next? Because that actually sounds like a step up from these guys, Wade grumbled, carefully prying open a creaking door. The air inside was heavy, thick with enchantments that hummed a low, unsettling frequency. This wasn't just a study, it was a vault of secrets. Inside, the room was a chaotic testament to Voldemort's megalomania. Stacked high were tomes bound in human skin, maps of obscure rituals, and scrolls covered in spidery, unsettling handwriting. A large, ornate desk dominated the center, cluttered with diagrams of obscure constellations and archaic symbols. Okay, Malachi, this is your moment, Wade muttered, shedding his Death Eater uniform, carefully folded, because even mercenaries had standards, and donning a pair of fingerless gloves. Time to go full Dora the Explorer on Voldemort's personal diary. He moved with a practiced fluidity, his eyes scanning, his enhanced senses picking up subtle details. He wasn't looking for just anything. He was looking for patterns, for anomalies. His gaze snagged on a collection of loose notes, tucked beneath a heavy grimoire titled Serpent's Embrace, a guide to undying dominion. The notes were scribbled in elegant but agitated script. Wade immediately recognized it as Voldemort's. One particular page, ringed in a fresh stain of dark magic, detailed intricate runes and a phrase that sent a shiver down his non-magical spine. The ring of Marvelogaunt, protected by the ancestral curse, shall be bathed in the blood of two. Under the eclipse of the twin serpents, to awaken its slumbering power and forge a new path to immortality. Whoa, hold up, Buttercup, Wade whispered, his internal monologue kicking into overdrive. Did I just stumble upon a Horcrux location and a ritual to supercharge it? That's like hitting the villainy jackpot. And twin serpents? Sounds like something Dumbledore would have a field day with. Or at least a very concerned frown. He rifled through more pages, his eyes darting. He found diagrams of the cave where Dumbledore had previously failed to retrieve the locket, but with new, far more complex enchantments layered over it, alongside a cryptic mention of a new sanctuary of the Serpent's Will located beneath the roots of the ancient yew, followed by coordinates that looked suspiciously like a location in the Forbidden Forest. Another Horcrux? Or a new hiding place for the old one? This was huge. He meticulously photographed the crucial pages with a specialized device from his mercenary kit, a tiny camera disguised as a buckle. The images would be encrypted and sent via a prearranged dead drop. Time to report, report, report. Wade chanted, doing a little victory jig. Bet old Dumbledore is gonna give me a gold star for this one. Maybe even a free chimichanga. A guy can dream. The designated meeting point was a derelict stretch of Nocturne Alley, a place where even the shadows seemed to have gone rogue. Wade arrived first, cloaked and careful, watching the broken cobblestones. He mentally rehearsed his report, adding a few dramatic pauses and sound effects for Snape's benefit. A swirl of black robes, and Snape materialized from the gloom, looking like a particularly disgruntled bat. Malachi, Snape hissed, his voice a low sneer. Your presence here suggests an inefficiency in your current assignments, or perhaps merely a penchant for loitering in unsavory locales. Professor Backcape. So glad you could make it, Wade chirped, trying to ignore the way Snape's lip curled. And here I thought you were just busy washing your hair with potion fumes. Turns out, you do have free time to listen to my fabulous intelligence report. Snape's wand twitched. Keep your inane babbling to a minimum, Malachi. Did you acquire anything of substance, or merely new material for your dreadful internal monologue? Wade's grin faded, a flicker of professional intensity replacing it. I found it. Voldemort's notes. The Gaunt Ring. He's found a ritual, the Eclipse of the Twin Serpents, to power it up, tie it to his bloodline. He's also planning to move it, or some other Horcrux, to a new sanctuary beneath the roots of the ancient yew. Got coordinates. And details on new protections for the cave where the locket was. He uploaded the encrypted photos to a small, enchanted orb Snape held. Snape's eyes widened, just barely. A muscle in his jaw clenched. The twin serpents and the ancient yew. This is significant. Extremely so. Dumbledore will need to review these immediately. He pocketed the orb, his gaze sharp. Your recklessness, Malachi, may have finally yielded something of worth. Do not mistake this for praise. Too late, Professor. I'm already basking in the glow of your grudging approval, Wade winked. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with destiny, or at least, a potential trip to the afterlife, courtesy of a certain sadistic blonde. Snape's expression hardened further. Bellatrix is vigilant. Be wary. With another swish of robes, he was gone, leaving Wade alone in the chilling silence. Wade operated back to the outskirts of the manor, his brief sense of accomplishment already replaced by a growing unease. Snape's warning wasn't just a formality. He could feel it in the air, a prickling sensation on his healing skin. He returned to his quarters to find Bellatrix Lestrange waiting. She wasn't alone. Two other Death Eaters, hulking figures with masks covering their faces, stood sentinel. Bellatrix herself was lounging in a rickety armchair, her wand twirling idly in her fingers, a chilling smile plastered across her face. Malachi, she purred, her voice dripping like venomous honey. My dearest, most resilient Malachi. I've been waiting for you. Wade forced a casual shrug, a flicker of alarm sparking within him. Lady Lestrange, to what do I owe the pleasure? Pleasure indeed. I have been observing you. Your unique talents. Your remarkable ability to recover from the most rigorous of interrogations. It has made me wonder, she leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with manic curiosity, just how unique you truly are. I merely have a strong constitution, my lady, Wade said, trying to keep his voice even, his hand subtly drifting towards the hidden katana at his hip. And a deep, abiding loyalty to the Dark Lord. Bellatrix let out a sharp, deranged laugh. Loyalty? Perhaps. Or perhaps something else entirely. Something unnatural. I have a special test for you, Malachi. One designed to push the boundaries of even the most formidable wizard. To see if your constitution is truly of this world. She stood, her wand flicking. The two Death Eaters behind her stepped forward, their wands raised. Today, Malachi, you will prove your devotion. You will endure the deepest pains, the most excruciating curses, and emerge, still whole. Or you will break, and your true nature will be revealed. Her eyes burned into his, and Wade knew, with a sinking feeling, that she wasn't bluffing. She wasn't just testing his loyalty, she was testing his very being. This was a witch who knew a thing or two about pain, and she was about to administer a masterclass. He was trapped. He could either let her flay him alive, hoping his healing factor would eventually prove too effective and thus expose him anyway, or he could fight, blow his cover, and likely die a very messy, very magical death. Oh, for Fuddrucker's sake, Wade muttered, resignedly. Fine. But if I don't get a medal for this, I'm going to be very grumpy in my afterlife. Bellatrix merely cackled, her wand snapping up. Crucio. The pain was instantaneous, searing, and absolute. It felt like every nerve ending in his body was being set on fire, torn apart, and then reassembled only to be ripped asunder again. Wade dropped to his knees, his muscles seizing, a scream tearing from his throat. Such a melodious shriek, Malachi. But can you maintain it? Bellatrix reveled in his agony, prolonging the curse, watching his body convulse. Wade's healing factor was kicking in, desperately trying to knit his tormented nerves back together, but the constant assault made it a losing battle. He could feel his skin tearing, then mending, tearing, then mending, a silent, internal war raging. He had to act like it was destroying him. You, bitch, he gasped, forcing out defiance through clenched teeth. Bellatrix's eyes narrowed. Still standing in a fashion. Remarkable. But we are just beginning. She began to chant, a string of dark, ancient curses, each one designed to tear at the very fabric of his being, to probe for weaknesses, to peel away his physical and magical defenses. He felt his bones twist, his organs churn, his mind threatened with obliteration. He was regenerating faster than a normal human could even comprehend, but the sheer volume of magical assault was overwhelming. He was starting to lose focus, the lines between reality and fourth wall breaking blurring dangerously. Just as Bellatrix prepared what felt like a final, devastating curse, one designed to unravel his very essence, the door burst open. Bellatrix, a voice, cold and furious, cut through the air. Snape, what in Merlin's beard are you doing? I sensed a surge of uncontrolled magic. This is not the Dark Lord's command. Bellatrix turned, momentarily distracted, her wand hand dropping slightly. Severus, I am merely testing our newest recruit. He possesses a resilience, a curiosity that requires thorough investigation. Investigation or reckless endangerment of our assets? Snape's eyes, usually pools of black, glittered with an unusual fury. This man is to be deployed. If you shatter his mind before he is useful, the Dark Lord will not be pleased. As Snape spoke, his wand, seemingly by accident, whipped around. A burst of green light erupted from its tip, not aimed at Bellatrix, but at a stone gargoyle perched precariously above the entryway. The gargoyle exploded, sending shrapnel and dust raining down, accompanied by a deafening crack that seemed to rattle the very foundations of the manor. The two Death Eaters yelped, momentarily disoriented, shielding their faces. Bloody hell, Severus. Bellatrix shrieked, momentarily forgetting Wade as she cursed the ruined gargoyle. "You clumsy oaf." That was Wade's cue. The split second of confusion, the physical distraction, the raw chaos of Snape's mistake. With a guttural grunt, Wade pushed past the disoriented Death Eaters, ignoring the residual pain and the frantic mending of his ravaged body. He was battered, bleeding from a dozen places, but already his flesh was knitting, his bones resetting. He slammed the door open and sprinted, ignoring the shouts, ignoring the curses Bellatrix belatedly cast after him. He focused on a single destination, a quiet alley in Muggle London he'd pre-programmed. Crack. He landed hard, sprawling onto the grimy pavement, gasping for breath, his body still twitching with phantom pain. His costume was shredded, his skin a patchwork of healing wounds. He felt like he'd been hit by a very angry magical truck. But he was alive. And he had the intel. Well, Wade wheezed, pushing himself up, leaning against a graffiti-covered brick wall. That was a little too close for comfort. Snape's an asshole, but a surprisingly competent asshole when he wants to be. Bellatrix is officially on my must-kill in a ridiculously over-the-top fashion list. He looked down at his rapidly healing body. Still, Dumbledore's got his info. And I just survived a full-on Bellatrix torture session. That's gotta count for something, right? Now the question is, what happens next? Because something tells me Voldemort isn't going to be too happy about someone knowing his Horcrux plans, and Bellatrix definitely isn't going to let this go. The air still thrummed with residual dark magic, clinging like a shroud to the decaying manor house. Wade's last intel drop, a quick, whispered report to a nervous house elf before Snape brought them away from Bellatrix's closing trap, had led them directly into the jaws of the beast. Not a beast, exactly, but a labyrinth of ancient wards and a pulsating, malevolent presence that hummed through his very bones. This was it. The Horcrux. And, by extension, Voldemort. "He's here," Wade muttered, peering through a grimy window into a cavernous hall, adorned with grotesque tapestries and a central stone altar. On the altar, radiating a sickly green glow, lay a tarnished locket. The air around it shimmered with dark magic so concentrated, Wade could practically taste the evil. "Right on schedule. You owe me 20 galleons, Professor X." Snape, a shadow himself in the dim light, merely sneered, his gaze fixed on the locket, then sweeping the perimeter. "Focus, Wilson. The Dark Lord suspects." Bellatrix's enthusiasm for your demise has not gone unnoticed. She reported your disquieting lack of proper zeal during the Muggle cleansing and your suspiciously effective sabotage. He is here because he believes I have a traitor in my ranks. Little does he know, you're the entire damn circus. "Hey, I'm a one-man show, buddy," Wade retorted, checking the twin katanas on his back and the ridiculous prop one tucked into his belt. "And I'm about to give the audience what they want, a dramatic confrontation. Cue the tension-building music, people. Maybe some ominous Latin chanting? Or is that too on the nose for this crowd?" A distant sound of heavy, measured footsteps echoed through the manor. Snape's voice was low, urgent. "Dumbledore requires more time. The locket must be secured. Your task is to distract. Engage him. Keep his attention. Do not engage to defeat. You cannot. Survive if you are able. I will facilitate your egress once Dumbledore's objective is achieved." "Oh, so I'm the shiny red ball the Dark Lord chases while the old man snatches his shiny green ball?" Wade grinned, though a cold knot tightened in his stomach. "Got it. Distract and survive. My specialty. Though, honestly, survive is usually a given. Distract sometimes leads to accidentally dismember, but hey, details, details." "Do not dismember the Dark Lord, Wilson," Snape hissed, pushing Wade slightly towards a decaying wooden door. "He will not find it amusing. And neither will I, if I am forced to retrieve the pieces. No promises, Professor. My hands tend to have a mind of their own when faced with pure evil," Wade quipped, then kicked the door open with a dramatic flourish. The grand hall, bathed in the locket's eerie glow, was empty save for the pulsating artifact. Wade took a theatrical bow to the empty room. "Anyone home? Hello, Death Eaters? Is this thing on? Testing, 1, 2, 3. A low, sibilant voice, cold as a winter grave and sharp as a viper's fang, filled the space. "Who dares intrude upon my sanctum?" Wade spun around. Lord Voldemort stood in the doorway opposite, seemingly materializing from the shadows. He was exactly as the comics depicted him, skull-like face, slitted nostrils, red eyes burning with malice, holding a white wand. Honestly, a little underwhelming in person. He looked less like a Dark Lord and more like a perpetually constipated snake man. "Oh, hey there, Dark Lordy," Wade chirped, waving his prop wand casually. "Just your friendly neighborhood death dealer." "Yeah, that's what I am. Here to deliver a message from, a good friend." He pointed vaguely behind him, towards where Snape was almost certainly melting into the wall like a particularly goth wax figure. "He said you were getting a little too obsessed with trinkets. Needs to lighten up, get a hobby. Maybe some miniature painting? It's very relaxing." Voldemort's red eyes narrowed, glowing with a dangerous intensity. His expression was a mixture of disdain and utter confusion. You are the new recruit Severus spoke of? The one with the peculiar mannerisms." His gaze swept over Wade's mismatched clothing, his katanas, and finally, his mask. "What is this mockery? You wear the mask of a common brawler, not a servant of the Dark Lord." "Oh, this old thing?" Wade patted his masked face. "It's for brand recognition, my dude. Every good anti-hero needs a signature look. Besides my actual face, let's just say it's not ready for prime time. Or even late-night cable. It's a miracle I still get hired, honestly. Blame my dashing personality and impeccable comic timing." Voldemort raised his wand, his voice a low growl. "You mock me, worm? You dare to speak such insolence in my presence." "Insolence? Nah, this is just banter, baby. We're building rapport here." Wade started to stride casually around the locket, making sure to stay between Voldemort and the artifact. "I hear you're trying to achieve immortality? Good for you. But, like, hiding your soul in random objects? A bit cliché, don't you think? There are so many better ways. Ever consider, like, cryo-freezing? Or maybe becoming a sentient AI? The cloud is the new Horcrux, my friend." Voldemort's face remained expressionless, but a vein pulsed visibly in his temple. "Crucio." A bolt of crimson light shot from Voldemort's wand, striking Wade square in the chest. Wade flew backward, slamming into the wall with a sickening thud. The world swam in a haze of red, white-hot pain searing every nerve ending. His body twitched uncontrollably. That's quite the party trick." Wade gasped, his voice strained even through the agony. "My compliments to the chef. Really feeling the crunchy bits." Voldemort watched, an eerie flicker in his red eyes as Wade's body began to steam, his ripped uniform and exposed skin knitting back together at an alarming rate. "Impossible," he hissed, his voice laced with venom. "No human could withstand the Cruciatus curse and speak." "Oh, honey, I'm barely human," Wade quipped, pushing himself off the wall, a few ribs audibly snapping back into place. "More of a concept. A force of nature. A really annoying, regenerative force of nature, actually. Ask Wolverine. He knows. He hates it." Voldemort, clearly intrigued and infuriated, raised his wand again. "Who are you? What dark magic gives you this resilience?" "It's not dark magic, it's just me." Wade spread his hands in a gesture of bewildered innocence. "Though I do dabble in some truly dark humor sometimes. Like, really dark. You'd probably approve. We could swap jokes later. I've got one about a Dark Lord, a prophecy, and a truly awful choice of footwear. Avada Kedavra." Voldemort roared, abandoning all pretense of curiosity, his patience utterly spent. A blinding flash of emerald light erupted from his wand. Wade didn't even try to dodge. He simply spread his arms wide, a bizarre smirk under his mask. Catch! The killing curse hit him, dead center. Wade's body went rigid for a split second, then slumped to the floor, smoke curling from his uniform. Voldemort watched, triumphant, but a flicker of unease remained in his eyes. He knew no magic like this. A few agonizing seconds later, Wade's body twitched. Then, with a groan that sounded suspiciously like a frustrated sigh, he pushed himself up. "Oh, come on. Really? That's your signature move? A one-hit knockout? So uninspired. Where's the flair? The pizzazz? The explosion? He patted his chest, which, save for some singed fabric, appeared perfectly fine. You know, for a guy who calls himself Dark Lord, you're not very creative with your spells. Just green light, green light, green light. Get some colors in there. Maybe a rainbow curse? Or one that turns people into squirrels. Now that would be terrifying. Voldemort was shaking, not with fear, but with an incandescent fury that radiated from him like heat. You defied death itself. You are an aberration. I will tear you apart, piece by piece, until there is nothing left. He unleashed a torrent of spells, cutting curses, bludgeoning hexes, a sickly purple flame that Wade just absorbed. Each hit sent him flying, ripping his costume, leaving gaping wounds that visibly sealed themselves over. Wade stumbled, rolled, and even occasionally somersaulted, all while delivering a running commentary. Ooh, that one tickled. Nicely done. But I prefer a good old-fashioned punch to the face, you know? More intimate. What's wrong, Voldy? Getting tired? You're starting to look a little pale. And you're already kinda pale to begin with. Is it the stress? I told you, miniatures. This was it. This was Dumbledore's window. While Wade bounced around like a demented pinball, soaking up spells, he noticed a faint, shimmering distortion near the far entrance. A figure, barely visible, slipping into the hall, moving with impossible speed towards the altar. Dumbledore. Voldemort, completely engrossed in his futile attempts to dispatch Wade, didn't notice a thing. He fired another Avada Kedavra, which Wade, with a grunt, took on the chin. Seriously, still with the green light? Wade groaned, pulling himself back up. You know, if you wanted to look cool, you should have gone with a laser eye option. Like Cyclops. Or, you know me if I had optic lasers. Which I don't. But a guy can dream. As Dumbledore reached the altar and, with a silent flash, enveloped the locket in a shimmering aura, Voldemort finally seemed to sense a shift in the ambient magic. He tore his gaze from the regenerating mercenary, his head snapping towards the altar. And oh, he shrieked, a sound of pure, unadulterated rage and despair. Oh, looky here, old man Dumble's making a cameo. Wade exclaimed, pointing with his wand. Talk about a grand entrance. And exit strategy. Time for me to go. Voldemort unleashed a powerful, dark spell towards Dumbledore, but Snape, suddenly appearing from the shadows near the entrance, intercepted it with a practiced shield charm, deflecting the raw magic harmlessly into the ceiling. Run, Wilson. Snape's voice, though sharp, held a trace of urgency. You don't have to tell me twice, Snapperino. Wade yelled, turning and bolting towards the door Dumbledore had just used, the one Snape was now standing near. As he passed Snape, he clapped the potion's master on the shoulder. Later, Gator. It's been a ride. Mostly a painful, horrifying ride, but a ride nonetheless. Snape merely glowered, then, with a sharp flick of his wand, collapsed a section of the ceiling, creating a wall of rubble between Voldemort and the fleeing figures. Wade didn't look back. He ran, the shouts of a furious Dark Lord echoing behind him, followed by the distant crack of apparition. He landed hard, sprawling onto the cold, grimy alley pavement of a familiar London street. The stench of diesel and stale takeaway was a welcome relief after the perfumed malice of the manor. His body still ached, even with the healing factor working overtime. He could taste blood, and the sensation of repeatedly dying and regenerating was, as always, deeply unpleasant. Well, he wheezed, pushing himself up, picking bits of gravel out of his still-mending mask. That was an experience. He looked down at his tattered uniform, the scorch marks, the fresh rips. Looks like I'll need a new suit. Again. Does Dumbledore have a clothing allowance for repeatedly exploded mercenaries? Because I feel like that's something that should be in the contract. He pulled off his mask, revealing his scarred face, and took a deep, shuddering breath of polluted London air. The mission was over. The Horcrux secured. Voldemort thoroughly annoyed. He'd done it. Wade Wilson, the Merc with a mouth, had helped save the wizarding world. Kind of. More like, he'd provided a really loud, obnoxious distraction while the actual heroes did the heavy lifting. So, is this it? He mused, looking up at the grimy brick buildings, the indifferent Muggle world. No more magic. No more prophecies. No more death cults. Back to the grind, audience? Back to chimichangas and breaking the fourth wall without the added bonus of ancient curses and snake-faced psychopaths. A strange feeling settled over him. Not relief, not even boredom. Something else. A faint hum beneath the chaos. He'd faced pure evil, not for money, not for a laugh, but because a manipulative old man had asked him to, and because, deep down, he knew it was the right thing to do. He'd saved Muggles, he'd bought time, he'd survived the unsurvivable. He'd been a hero? Me? A hero? He scoffed, kicking a loose pebble. Nah, I'm just a guy who gets paid to be violent. And occasionally, violently obnoxious. It just so happens that sometimes my brand of obnoxious violence is exactly what the plot needs. He thought of the look in Voldemort's eyes, the pure, unadulterated hatred and bafflement. He thought of the Muggles he'd secretly saved, the information he'd gotten Dumbledore. He hadn't just survived, he'd interfered. He'd chosen a side, however reluctantly, and actually made a difference. Maybe I do have a purpose, he said softly, a rare moment of genuine introspection. Beyond just making wisecracks and dismembering bad guys. Maybe chaos can be a force for good. A really messy, morally ambiguous, slightly insane force for good. He pulled his mask back on. The world of magic was behind him for now. But something had clicked into place. The fourth wall was still there, of course, stronger than ever, but now a new window had opened within it. A window into what Wade Wilson, monster though he was, could truly be. A mercenary, yes. Chaotic, absolutely. But perhaps a defender too. A very, very reluctant, incredibly annoying defender. As he turned to walk out of the alley, a glint of metal caught his eye. Lying partially obscured by a discarded newspaper was a small, ornate silver locket. It was tarnished, yes, but undeniably familiar. Wade froze. His healing factor, which could mend flesh and bone, could not explain away the sudden, cold dread that seeped into his very soul. He bent down, hesitantly picking up the locket. It was old, intricately carved, and just for a moment, he swore he felt a faint, sickly green glow emanate from within. Oh, for foo, Wade began, his voice trailing off as he stared at the familiar object. You've got to be kidding me. You're telling me, after all that, they just dropped one. He looked up at the sky, then directly at you, the reader. Are you seeing this? Because I think the plot just got much thicker.